So, welcome to the Grown Up Group. This is a podcast of regular people tackling the world from a Black perspective. Welcome back, guys. So, we're up and running again. Here we are. We've been very busy during the fall seasons, and winter has led us here. So, it is December 2024. We're going to do a recap on what has happened in 2024 and how it has affected us. So, we have our topics and how we would actually like to approach these items. We have it broken down as entertainment as well as politics and then our current events that just life has been happening. So, let's delve into this. Welcome, Kira and Joe. Welcome,
Good to
Joe.
be
And
back.
of
Good to be
course,
back.
that's right. And I'm Ty. So, hey everybody. I'm gonna
Right.
get into the current events that just
All right.
recently happened. I'm gonna go into Luigi. Luigi accused
Oh,
of
my
shooting
man Luigi.
CEO Brian Thompson from you guys, you know it, United Healthcare. So, what
hmm
are your guys' thoughts on that? Because I want to say the world is applauding this man. He committed murder and they're applauding him. And I'm just like, if he was, so I'm gonna say it, I'm gonna say it. If he was any other ethnic group, Indian, Arabic, Black, you want to say it, Hispanic, if he
Yeah.
was any other minority group, they would not be applauding. I do not believe that they would be applauding. I think they would be crucifying. I think that they would be looking at it from a whole different perspective. They're doing this whole Robin Hood thing with him. Here he is, but where did he come from? He also came from money. So to me, I'm like,
hmm
I have so many mixed thoughts on it because I don't know if I would necessarily think that he's a Robin Hood character. What was his cause? I have
Well,
questions. What's his reasoning?
when he was arrested, um, they said they found some X-rays on him that he had of himself, and he has a bunch of screws and plates in his spine.
Hmm.
Okay, so he's had some extensive surgery on his back.
Right. Yeah.
So a lot of people speculating, well, perhaps that has something to do with maybe his insurance or something that wasn't covered. Like he has a personal beef with
Hmm.
with United Healthcare,
Right.
and which is probably what was his motive, or because they said he had a manifesto of a bunch of healthcare CEOs and other big business CEOs. So United Healthcare, the guy Brian Smith might not have been, the person personally responsible for him,
Yeah.
probably the most easily accessible at the time.
Right.
Because one thing I found, which is pretty stupid, is that like right now, I'm working at a one of the largest insurance companies in New Jersey in their corporate security, and what I've come to find out is that they every every quarter on their website they announce when they're going to have their board meetings and where it's going to be,
Hmm.
which is
I
stupid.
fit on any of them, then if that's the case, like if that's the case, it's like
Exactly.
so open. I'm like, if I could go to a public website and just look it up.
And you can,
Hmm.
and the reason they do that is because if it's a publicly traded company,
Hmm.
if you own one share of stock in that company, you have a right to go
To
to
be
that
there.
board meeting.
Oh, that's why.
You
Wow.
probably won't,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
but you have a right to, which is why they have to publicize it.
yeah.
And that's what happened in this case. It was made public that he was going to the end of the year board meeting, and it was going to be at such and such a place right across from the Hilton where he was staying at.
Right.
And that's how Duke got to him. So I think this was probably, one of the people on his list and probably the most accessible at the time,
Right.
which is made it
I do have
happen.
a question. You guys surprised that it happened in broad daylight in the middle of New York City on a
Mm-mm.
busy street, on a very busy street, surprisingly. Like I was a little taken back by it.
I'm not, because a person that has it in their mind to do something like that, that's the way they want to do it.
Mm,
That's
mm.
the way they're going to take any opportunity to get it where they can.
You know why I was so I guess shocked by the action and it happening at the time that it did was because New York City, and I don't know if you guys been to New York City recently, but I go there every day and you see so many heavy armed policemen in the subways on the
Yeah,
street.
Hmm.
They don't
Yeah,
have just regular guns that they're walking around with, and
they got
their gun holders.
AK-47.
they're working
Yes,
out with
they have
ARs. Yeah, they're
AK-47s
walking
in
with
CVS,
AR-15s.
in
Yeah.
Dwayne Reed. You know what I mean? Like in
Hmm.
in the
Right.
Yeah.
stores and your local stores, they have men with AK-47. So I'm like, if Walgreens and Dwayne Reed is heavily armed like that, the sidewalks in the city, like they're walking to beat, and I mean they are heavy,
Hmm.
heavy ammo. And I'm always shocked when I see one. I'm like, what's going on in the city? Like, I know we're on high alert and everything like that, and there's always like a terrorist attack or something to that effect. I hope not, knock on wood. But I'm like, man, they're on guard. Like I always feel safer because I'm like, oh, ain't nothing gonna go down
Right.
when they
Yeah.
watch, you know what I mean? And then I'll hear something like that. I'm like, he just walked up to him and shot him.
Hmm.
Goodness gracious, nobody tackled him. He got away. He was able to get away with a bag, a book bag, a jacket, nothing, a bike, everything. And I'm like, nothing was
Yeah.
seized, not one thing left behind, not one person tripped them, not one person confiscated a phone, a device, nothing. Like, yeah, it's shocking to me
Well,
because
It's
I
people are
like
see
it
so
was
the
passive
guards in there, and
nowadays
I'm
when it
like, it
comes to
looks so
things like
heavily
right.
that.
protected.
Yeah, because people nowadays are so passive, especially in a place like New York. Like, for instance, if that would have happened in Texas, that dude wouldn't have got a half a block before somebody else would have killed him.
Hmm.
But see, in places like New York, California, you have this. I don't want to get involved. I don't want to be bothered. I don't see nothing. I don't want to do nothing. And which he knew why he can get
Yeah,
away with something like that to the extent he did in a place like New York City.
right.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, and New York now is considered like in the United States. There's a higher likelihood of a terrorist attack to happen in New York City than there is at the White House. So,
Because of the crowd.
right, and
And
that's
like
why, yeah,
build
you go
tall
to New
buildings.
York, you
Right.
see everybody, all of the police officers walking around with AR-15, and those are all like I think New York has in the past, I don't know, 15 to 20 years, New York has doubled the size of its emergency response team, or as everybody calls it, their SWAT team,
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah.
because of
Absolutely.
that. So those
Yep.
officers that you're seeing with those ARs, those are SWAT operators who are, and that's why.
Mm,
That's why.
that's
But,
crazy.
again, they just weren't where they needed to be on that day.
That's very
Right.
true.
It-
Because I was shocked. I watched the footage maybe about 4 or 5 times because I just was like,
Hmm.
"Wait, nobody." And you're so right. There's people walking right by. There's
Yeah.
people like only time you hear the thing is when the gunshot go off and then like the swarming around them.
Yeah.
And I was just like, and that's it. And they didn't even swarm around to the guy that did it. They swarmed around to the person
So
that
the
was
guy
on
that
the
got,
ground.
right.
Yeah, and I just was like, nobody went that direction. But I guess not because like you said, us New Yorkers do not get involved. I'm like, it's not my
No.
business, not my circus,
Nope.
not my
I'm
monkey.
going,
I'm on my
I
business.
got to
I'm
get
here
to
and I'm on
work.
a mission. Not only
Yep.
that, I wear a lot of my earbuds. So I don't even pay attention to my
And a lot
surroundings
of
because I
people
got
do
my
that as
earbuds
well.
in and I'm jamming to my music.
They
So
don't they don't do that. But here's another thing too, as far as all right, and this is part of the I don't know what to call it, or arrogance or entitlement of places like that is you have people who own these large buildings and these large companies over New York City that will
mhm.
specifically say to the police commissioner, the mayor, listen, I don't want your Gestapo looking police officers swarming up and down the building, up and down the block where my buildings are.
Yes,
So
that's so true.
oftentimes what happens is these people don't want those heavily armed police officers in those areas.
Yeah,
You're scaring
yes,
away my business, is what
Yeah.
they say,
yeah,
Yeah.
you know? So it makes it even easier for somebody like Luigi to pull this off because he knows, wait a minute, the Hilton family and the owners of this building, they don't want these AR-15 toting SWAT guys walking up and down this block.
yeah, it's true.
So I know I can hang here and pop this guy and get away with it.
Yeah,
And that's what
craziness.
happens. Yep.
That's craziness. So I
Mm-hmm.
do want to touch on other topics, guys. Let's delve into some of the Olympic things because the Olympics has happened and we had some
Yeah.
highlights from the Olympics, which was crazy. I know that there was a top issue because this interview happened with Simone Biles and her husband. And what was his name again? Like he did her. Ha. Jonathan Owens.
Jonathan Owens.
Jonathan
Yeah.
Owens, and everybody was so taken back that he was a cheerleader for her. Like, he was in the crowd, he was engaging, he was in his, as he should, his wife. But it was kind of funny. It was kind of like the tables have turned, and they were like, oh, okay, Simone Biles, and she's getting the support that she deserves from him. Finally, you know what I mean? But in the same breath, it was like she came in, she dominated, she did her sport, she did her thing. I applaud her because as a young Black woman, she definitely is motivated and driven. She has the work ethic, unbelievable and phenomenal work ethic. So I applaud her for that. But I hate the fact that her relationship kind of dominates the whole experience of what she was able to execute and do. Because people are so caught up in the drama of, look at him. Look at him. Now he riding her coattails. And I'm like, no, he just didn't know who she was in the beginning. He got to show some people grace sometime. And yeah, that's how he met her. He didn't know who she was at the time, and he had to do a Google search. Who doesn't do a Google search and look for somebody? But I mean, yeah, a lot of people took offense to that, especially our sisters. A lot of Black women were like, "Put the nerve and audacity." I was one of them. I ain't even gonna lie. I was one of them. But what's your thoughts on that, Kira?
I was the same way too. Like, you don't know I know who Simone Biles is.
Oh,
Like, how you not
everybody knows
know?
who she was.
But like you said, I mean, I didn't even know who he was. So I'm just like,
I
all
watch
right.
sports.
So exactly. So I'm Googling him, but I knew who she was. So it was just like, all right, whatever. But look, they got a happy story now.
Yes. Yes. Very happy
They have a
story
happy
now.
ending. That,
Yes.
I hope our community is happy now.
I hope they forgive him. I hope they forgive him. Show him a little grace,
Right?
some little courtesy, just a little. I
I
did.
hope they
Come back to it.
forgave
But
him.
like, I forgive you. I forgive. Not that he only
Right.
asked me. Not that he asked me or the Black community,
Right.
but we gotta show some grace, people. Show some. Joe, what are your thoughts
Right.
on it?
Well, I mean, in his defense, you know what I mean? Here's a guy, he was trying to make his own mark in sports.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Um, he is in the NFL. He's not a top tier NFL player. So
Yes.
he was constantly having to work and having to focus on himself. So when he said, "Nah, I didn't know who she was," I kind of get it. I mean, this guy for the past whatever amount of years is trying to make his own mark.
Mm-hmm.
And when you're trying to make your own mark in the NFL, you get kind of this linear vision. You're not focused on who's a gymnast, you know what I mean,
Yeah.
or who's a bicyclist, or who's a swimmer. You don't know these things, especially if it's not something you're trying to focus on your own career. So I didn't feel any kind of way about it when he said it. You know what I mean? I get it. Like, you were trying to make your own mark, and he's still trying, because not for nothing. Right now, people don't see him as, Jonathan Owens, the football player. People see him as Mr. Biles.
Yeah.
That's what I
You
said. I was
know?
like, who is he? Simone Biles'
You know
husband.
what I mean? Yeah.
Sorry, that's what I thought of him. I was just like, I don't know who he was. When he did the interview, I just was like, oh, he's Simone Biles' husband. And I just was like, oh, they met some way. But then when he started telling the story, I was like, okay, come on now. Don't try to downplay who she is. We all know who Simone Biles is, Olympic great.
Right.
Like, what are you talking about? All these championships and all this stuff that she's done, and your medals, and what are you talking about? Who is Simone Biles? What madness are you talking, man?
Right.
I'm also for Black woman empowerment, and I'm just like, go girl, like go girl. That was my
Right.
represent, and I don't know. I always applaud her. So in the past, and I still do applaud her in the future. Speaking of the Olympics, break dancing was added to the Olympics. Some things was a plus, but some things was so disappointing, like that Australian dancer.
Don't be dissing Ray Gun.
Did you
Don't be
guys see?
dissing
What are
Ray
your
Gun.
thoughts on that one?
She was dope.
You know what? Now that you bring that up, I meant to Google their break dancing over there. Maybe that's their break dancing over there. I'm like,
shouldn't be anybody's
they
break
could have put me in there.
Well, what there was a story behind why she was it. Okay. The reason why she got it is because breakdancing,
a daughter.
You would think, because breakdancing was never actually a thing in Australia. So when they introduced it as a sport, they held a competition. Nobody in Australia was breakdancing in the 80s. So,
Yeah.
and nobody does it now. So when they introduced it, a bunch of people tried out. And believe it or not, in Australia, her and the dude, they were the best at it in Australia.
I'm so sorry to hear that. I'm very sorry to hear that.
Very,
Yeah.
very.
Yeah.
You just
Like I
said, our
said,
country bows out. Our country just bows out of the support.
Our country was just like, you know what? Mm-mm, mm-mm,
I would have definitely bowed out. I would have just been like, you know what? We don't have proper representation. So we would like to bow out of this sector. We have no one to perform. I would have just been happy if she just went in and did some squiggly arms, like, like just some pop locks, just do that. Don't, no, nothing else. Nothing
Yeah,
else.
just give us 30
just
seconds
a
and then
little,
just go sit down.
that's it. That's all she had to do.
exactly.
Whew.
That's
When
why
she
I
got
wanted
on
to.
that floor and started rolling around.
Looking like a
Took me
wounded
out.
snake. I don't know.
Oh
Yeah,
my
I was
God.
like, that took me out. But let's move it along because that the Olympics, I give it to them. I applaud them. Thank you for adding it. It was something that touched us in the 80s and 90s. Used to love watching them break out that. As soon as I saw that cardboard, I knew it was on. I give
Right.
props to Ozone. And what was that one other one? What was it? There was another one from Breaking. They was really tough.
Oh, Turbo and
Ozone.
Ozone.
Turbo
Yep.
Ozone. Thank you. I'm like, I give props
Yeah.
to them because they did their thing in the 80s and 90s with that. Woo. And he just died like maybe 3-4 years ago.
Adolfo Shabadoo Williams. Yeah.
There you
He
go.
just
Yes,
passed
he
away.
did. He
Yeah.
passed away. He was a fine brother too. Fine brother, fine specimen
Lord.
in New
Yeah,
York City. He stayed true to his oath. He lived in New
did.
York City to his final days. So I give that to that man. Yeah. Thank you guys for engaging me on that breakdancing thing because I was like, I don't know how this is gonna go, but that Olympic thing had me on the floor. I just was like, who had made this decision? Yeah, take their cards away and their privileges too. I don't understand it. But thanks for that background because I needed that, Joe. I need to know how she got there.
That's how. Yeah.
Gypsy Rose, her being released, engaged, and on tour. How she could find a man and I can't. I just don't understand.
And it's so much of that. It's so much of that going on. How did you find? And I can't. And
listen, she had her. Look, first of all, her man helped her kill her mom. How you? Not only you got a man, but you got a man that killed your mom.
He would have did anything for her.
Yeah. I don't know. She's
not that same guy. That's the crazy part. It's not the same guy.
No, it's a different guy. She
went and found another one that was like, you down or no? But their engagement has since been broken off. So, I mean, I do want to give her that positive. She at least got released, found somebody, and went on tour. So I applaud that,
Yeah.
So,
what is she going on tour for? I'm sorry.
She's going on tour telling her story. She wrote a book.
Yeah, she's going
on
a speaking
coming
tour.
out. Yeah, she got a whole tour, book tour going on.
Yep,
telling her
getting
side of things.
6 figures per appearance.
Oh wow!
Yes, she's
getting 6 figures per appearance. Yes, she is, and she is lined up for appearances for the bulk of 2025.
Yes.
Oh wow!
Serious.
This girl will be a millionaire by the end of 2025.
Yes.
Right. My daughter must have came across it on TikTok. My 8 years old because she like, Mom, who is Gypsy Rose? I'm like, we're not gonna speak about her. We're gonna speak about her.
Gypsy Rose,
a good mother to you.
I do want to say, I do want to address that because her mother had, what is it, proxy, whatever, what was it called?
Munchausen by proxy. Yeah.
There you are. Munchausen, what?
Munchausen.
I was about to Ice Spice Munch. You called me a Munch.
Yep. Like, Munchausen by proxy.
What he just said.
Yeah.
She had that. So I mean, she's also a victim, and she does have a valid story to tell. Right. I don't want to say she's just all bad. Somebody that's gone through so much suffering and being convinced or being manipulated to say you're sick, and then shaving her hair off, pulling her teeth out her mouth. That stuff is crazy. I'm like, she pulled her teeth out her mouth. Like what? That lady was sick in the head. And I'm sorry. I prefer she was locked up to serve her time opposed to killing her. But I'm like, offing her. Let me just say offing her. But I understand. When you're put in tough circumstances, you never know how you're going to respond and react. And she saw out, and she met a man, and she was like, "This is going to be my out. He going to save me." And she unfortunately manipulated the guy to do what she needed him to do. But yeah, it's crazy. I don't know. Part of me applaud her, but in the same breath, I'm just like, oh man, like how it had to end that way. It's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, quite honestly, she was a kid, and her mental faculties were pushed to a point where that's the only out that she saw. I'm
Yeah,
not
Right.
saying it was right, but I'm saying I understand.
I understand.
Like
Yeah,
I get you. You
yep,
lost you lost the better years of your life to a woman who needed so much attention that she couldn't, and her mother was a coward. Like if you want
yeah,
attention, like there's Munchausen syndrome and there's Munchausen by proxy. Munchausen syndrome is when you fake a sickness yourself to get the
yes,
attention. By
yes,
proxy is when you put it on somebody else so you can get the attention.
yeah.
So
Mhm.
I'm like, listen, make yourself sick. Why you got to do this to me?
Right, right.
Right.
I was
You
gonna say that. I was like,
They-
why? And she's a child, the innocence of a child,
know?
somebody that's supposed to protect you and do right by you. And then they basically be your downfall. Like, it's crazy. I don't know. I can't blame her for her actions, but I do want to
Right.
say I can't wait to see her address mental, health issues. I always go back to mental health issues and her emotional state because she does need some stability there before
Hmm.
she get engaged and married, and then whatever happens in her future, I hope she seeks that out before anything else. So
Right.
that's definitely, thank you, Joe, very much for giving us the explanation on that, because I was like, I know it's Munchausen, whatever, but I just was
Hmm.
like, that word, I'm not saying it on the podcast, but I thank you for throwing yourself out there, Joe, and taking one for the team, because I was like,
I,
that word, I even have it
listen,
written down. I was like, munching,
I
ice
had
munch.
I had to study.
Call
I
you
had to
munch.
study it for a few years, so it's
Yeah,
kind of
there you
stuck in my
go. There
head.
you
Yeah, I
are.
did a
I'm
couple
like
of
that.
papers on
I
it.
appreciate you. I appreciate you,
No
brother.
problem.
Alien spotted in Miami. Do you guys remember that whole debacle and what has happened? Went down there. Remember that whole huge frenzy where there was police officers lined outside the Miami Mall? That was a huge big
Yeah,
event in 2024.
I
And what
I
has come
vaguely
from that?
remember that. Yeah.
Yeah, and I was like, what happened? Nobody came forth. There was so many different stories. There was aliens, there was this portal, something opened, the whole mall shook, police showed up and drones, and but it was like, what the heck happened? Nobody showed footage, no, all those cameras in the mall.
Yeah,
We
we're
And
had
it
in a
was
nothing.
no
weird
footage. It was
between
nothing else.
aliens and drones. We are in a weird place right now.
We're
Right.
in a
Right.
real place. And I said, I was going to say the drones in New Jersey. That was my
Right.
next thing. It isn't on my list, but I was like, the drones in New Jersey. Yeah, somebody brought that to my attention. That's really important to me. And they were like, you from New Jersey? You hear about the drones? And I was like, what drones? And they were like, you not on current events because you don't know about the drones. And I was like, I got know my people on the podcast. Maybe they know about the
Three
drones.
flew over my house Thursday night.
Yeah.
Drones. What are they
Yeah.
My
looking
house
for?
Thursday
What are
night.
they doing? What are the drones doing?
It was like last Sunday or Monday. It was about 10 of them that flew right down, like right past my block. Yeah, because
Yeah.
I'm about 8-10 miles from
Okay.
Fort Dix MZL. So yeah, listen,
Mm,
it's not even a thing for us where I live at. We're just
Right.
wow.
like, oh, there they go again.
Oh, wow.
Like that's how it's been for the past month. We're like, yep, there they go again.
For a whole
Right.
drones have been flying overhead.
Mm-hmm.
What
Yep.
areas are the drones visiting? Are they looking for something specific? Is it military? Do they know where the drones
Well,
are coming from?
nobody knows where they're coming from. Like I said, I'm about, like I said, I'm about 10 miles from Fort Dix. I'm in Burlington County.
Hmm.
So Fort Dix MBL is like not far from us. So, that's, we're assuming that's why they're always hovering in this area.
Yeah, yeah.
Because again, I see him, like I said, in the past 3 weeks, I saw him like 5 or 6 times.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that
Crazy.
started within the past couple of weeks. They said they pose no threat, but why? Why are they here? And every
Yeah.
day at that.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Hmm.
What are they looking
Like,
for? That's what I
I mean,
need
a
to know.
couple
By
of
the
them might have.
hundreds, and they're huge. These things
Yeah,
are
they're
huge.
huge.
They're about the size of a small car.
Cool.
Like those
You
little
think they
drones you
testing
buy.
driving vehicles like the Jetsons? I can only hope. I always envision my future with some flying cars. So I'm
Right.
Listen, we like you said, we can only hope, but
we can
they're
only hope,
huge, and when
right?
you see them, you're like that, and it's not a plane or a helicopter because they're
Right.
too small to be a plane or a helicopter, but they're too big to be something that you can buy out of Target and just
Yeah,
fly.
yeah. Because I know the drones, 10 years ago, the drones was all the wave. Like, you would have people invading each other, privacy with drones flying in people's backyards and everything like that.
Oh,
But
I
it was
got like
people
10
that
of them
had,
in my
you had
house.
to
Like my
spend like
son collects them.
$500. It was people of money that really was doing it, right?
Yeah,
Right.
my
Yeah,
son
we had
collects
some
them. I got a
ran
bunch
out
of them,
money. Huh, what you
but
said, Sarge?
I said, my son has about 10 of them. We collect them,
There you go.
but they're about like that big, and he flies them in the backyard, and that's
Yeah.
that. But these things, I
Yeah,
don't know.
they big.
They're
I just brought the
huge.
kids stuff for Christmas.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
They small
That's a little scary. That's
yeah.
really
right.
scary. You
It
just
They
never
is.
ain't getting
know.
them from Walmart. I tell you that.
Oh,
Right.
wow.
Yeah.
Serious,
Yeah,
serious business.
yeah.
Wow.
Not
So
getting
I
them
gotta
from
look
Walmart.
out for these drones. I'm gonna start looking up some of these videos of these drones because I'm like, man, that sounds really scary. I would think the world coming to an end or something if I seen something like that fly by my house or
Mm-hmm.
something's coming to investigate or look for me for a reason.
Right.
I'm curious as to why they're here. So,
Right.
um,
Channel
yeah.
12 speak on it every day. Channel 12. They talk about it every day.
I want to go into the man that jumped and lunged at the judge in Nevada. That was a current event that happened in 2024. And I just was like, this man, I lost his ever loving mind. Never in the history of court have I seen somebody lunge at a judge and actually reach her.
And he lunged far. I'm like,
Yes.
what he got on the bottom of his shoes?
Should have been in the Olympics.
Right. He could have did a break dance where he jumped up and
When he lunged, I just was like, he ain't gonna reach her. He gonna fall right in his face. He actually leapt and got to her. And I was like, oh, that man is talented.
right. But then also while he was jumping and he reached, I'm like, oh, they gonna smoke that man. Oh my God.
Yeah, his thought process. He didn't think about the
Right.
after effects of his actions, but he just definitely was like in the moment. He's like, I'm gonna respond now. And unfortunately he responded and his behavior was taken very bad. And I think rightfully so, because he assaulted a judge. That alone.
Right.
Terrible, terrible thing. And I don't promote violence like that, but I just was like, damn. Watching it was just madness to me. I was like, how in the hell? Yeah.
Right. Like that was a long leap, brother.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah.
They say black men could jump. Oh my God. I'm sorry, y'all.
Yes, I know. And then we going into another court subject, YSL trial. So we had the Woody, Young Thug, all of that chaos that took place. And I got to tell you, it was so entertaining to me because that Woody character did not disappoint. He pleaded the fifth in every which way, but spoke and told the truth. And I was like, he lied, but he told the truth. And I just was like, I applaud him because he made himself a celebrity out here. He's on YouTube videos. He's out here making money.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. The madness behind it.
I started watching it because of him. I started following it because of him, because I'm like, look, this is pure entertainment right here. This is no longer a court case or whatever. This is pure entertainment right here. This is comedy right here. This man is hilarious. And he was so serious about it, though.
He was so serious. You know, one thing I learned about him, one thing I really learned about the justice system, let me correct that. The one thing that I learned about the justice system, I do not recall. I do not recall. I do not recall, and I do not recall. That sentence being said 9,000 times throughout the whole trial. I do not recall what I said to that officer. I was just trying to get out of jail. I don't know what I said. I may have lied on my boy. I may not have. I don't recall. I don't recall. What did you ask me? What is that? A number. It's not a gang. It's a number. That's a number. How old are you? I'm grown. How old are you? I'm grown. The manufactural responses that he got, he should be given legal counsel. That's what he should be giving people advice legally on how to handle bullshit. Because I swear he was the epitome of it during the whole entire trial. I was like, I don't know how the hell he got on stage I said stage. You see how that was? I don't know how he got on the stand and actually was able to perform and still not respond, but gave a response. Woody?
When them people left at the end of the day, they went across the street to the bar.
When he said the smell, could you back up and give me some feet? I just was like, oh my, the distractions and the disrespect, the whole entire.
I dropped the phone after that. I dropped the phone and put my hands up. It was like,
he was like, the smell, back up. The smell, back up.
Got me over here like.
I know. I was like, what she smell like? What did she smell?
He like, back up. We love you,
This
Woody.
was like, wow. Shout out to Woody. Because I mean, ATL represented all the way. If I ever needed somebody on my squad, well, he's right there on my ride.
Right. And I'm pretty sure it's gonna happen
Wasn't
for him
there,
in the
we don't
future.
recall, and it's a number, okay? I'm grown. That's
Yeah,
all it I oh, how old am I? Grown. That's all you need to
I'm
know.
grown.
I'm grown.
I'm grown. That's just it.
How long you knew
That's
him?
it.
A long time. I knew him a long time. That's all you need to know is I knew him a long. Oh man, that man. Who give him an award? He should have won an Oscar. He gave the
Right.
best performance of the year, and I got to tell you, that man need an Oscar. They should have gave him some acting credits. They should have definitely put him in some shows. Oh
No,
man,
seriously. I,
watch him every day. That's just craziness, right? The cargo crash in Baltimore Bridge. How?
okay.
I honestly thought that was a distraction. I just haven't figured out what they was trying to distract us from.
No, seriously, what was they trying to distract us from? Because I'm like, how you make that mistake? And it brought me back to Titanic. How
Yeah,
y'all
yeah.
seen this iceberg and you seen that bridge from miles away? And you mean to
It's
tell
not
me
like
you
it just
still crashed
magically
into it?
appeared, right?
Right. You mean to tell me you just said, okay, we ain't gonna try to turn around or nothing or whatever, or we're just gonna crash straight into it. Like, did you fall asleep
Yeah, it's crazy.
or what? Like,
It's
how
crazy.
did that happen?
I don't know. This is madness to me. I'm like, wow. But I had to definitely give it its honorable mention because it was something in 2024. I was like, how did a bridge magically appear and a cargo crash right into it? And then the cargo, they actually went on strike. The men and women that work for a lot of the cargoes went on strike, and we were scared we were gonna lose our tissue, all of our
Right,
international products. I was like, no, say it ain't so. I need my paper towel. Like
right. Put us back in panic mode.
they
Put
had a
us
whole
because
list of things you need to run to the store and get again. And I felt like it was COVID 2024 version. I was like, no, not running out of products. We need our tissue. Yeah,
right,
it's
because I'm sitting
crazy.
at work and I'm like, by the time I get off of work, all the water's gonna be gone and I'm gonna
Yes.
be dying of thirst.
Yes, absolutely. I just was like, this is another scare tactic to put fear in our hearts. I can't understand it, but definitely, I got to tell you, Kira, ooh, I was like, what is this world coming to? Now we're going to lose all of our cargo. We're going to lose all our international products. It
Right,
ain't
right.
so. COVID 2024 coming our way. Like, what is going on? But yeah, that's crazy. And then there was a new word that was brought to light. It always lived with us because I know you're a woman, I'm a woman, girl math. That always existed. What do you mean?
This is girl math. What are you
This is
talking about?
everything girl math to me. I'm like, that's girl. I spent how much on Amazon? I still got money saved because Amazon don't take it right away. So my bank account don't show that money being taken from. So I'm like, it's gonna take 3 to 4 days for Amazon to come get their money. So I know I'll get paid within the next 2 to 3 days. So that's still money in the bank. And I still could cover these bills right here. What do you mean? What you
Yep.
talking about? That's always been girl math to me. So when I heard girl math being brought to everybody's attention in 2024, I was like, oh, they talking about my life.
Right. They talk about my spending habits.
Yeah, because that's all it's been to me. I'm like, yes, I can afford anything I want, a bag, some yogurt, whatever I heart desire, because there's always something there that's not there. So I'm like, I don't know why everybody else never used it. And now men
Right.
want to use
Because
our girl math. It's only for us, gentlemen, only
the,
for us.
the name the name speaks for itself, girl math. I'm mathing because I gotta figure it out before I do it.
That $20
I gotta
is
figure out.
still there. That $20,
Yeah.
one gives 120, 50, 9,000. It's still there. Okay. We still got it in the bank. Mind your business and don't watch what we do and don't do as we do as we say. Okay. That's what men are so confused by it. Like, what? You just spent that money. You just came out of the store and spent. I'm like, not really, though. Not really, because by the time at the end of the day, when I go back to my bank account, it'll be there again. Don't worry about how. Just know it's going to be there because we're going to get paid again. It's going to be there. So, girl math is nothing new in a concept, an idea. But stop watching us. Stop telling our business, okay?
Mind y'all's. Mine's the business that pays
Mind your
you.
business. Yes, yes. Any thoughts on other girl math, Kira?
No, I'm good with the girl math. I'm girl mathing now. Like,
Budget is always budgeting, okay?
I still got some other stuff I need to get for Christmas, and I'm just like, all right, get paid this day, so okay. I could afford that, whatever. Like this, let's take this decimal down and subtract that one, and then we have for this one, and then it's like we got it, we got it. Y'all gonna have a bomb ass Christmas.
We got it. It's always there, definitely. So now we're gonna go into our political views. Our political views. So this is our political views. Can I just get your thoughts
Oh,
on
man.
the Trump assassination attempt? Joe Biden's dropping from the race and Kamala Harris added, and Trump wins the election.
Oh, absolutely.
Just
Absolutely.
give it one
First
good
thing with
riff. Give me one good riff.
all right. First of all, Biden dropping out. We all saw that coming months ago.
Yes.
We all saw it months ago. And the sad fact is that the Democratic Party did not prepare for that, even though they saw it coming.
Mhm.
Because as soon as he dropped out, you put Kamala Harris in, which again, it was one of those moves. It was like the only move they could make.
Yes.
Because if you don't put her in, what you're basically saying is that we never had any faith in her to begin with.
Mm-hmm.
So they had to put her in.
Mhm.
And her biggest downfall was that once you got in, if you want to be president, or vice president to be president, friendship doesn't exist when it comes to the president you worked under. And her biggest issue was that she never disassociated herself from a horrible administration. Let's face it, Biden's administration was horrible when it came to economics, when it came to issues of state, world issues, horrible. The border, horrible. So you did not disassociate yourself. In fact, every time you were asked, what would you have done different than Joe Biden? Your response was nothing. I would have done nothing different than President Biden.
Yeah.
I would have ran the country the exact same way. So, of course, what did you think was going to happen a month ago? You were going to get spanked by over 50 electoral votes, And with the Trump assassination, that was just a joke. It was a joke in the sense that the Secret Service ought to be ashamed of itself.
Yes. Very
Ought to
much
be
so.
ashamed of itself. I mean, when you have local cops coming to you and saying, hey, listen, we just got a guy that climbed up on that roof. We need to do something about it. And you say, no, we already checked that roof. And when local cops get up on that roof and damn near get their heads blown off, meanwhile, Secret Service is still sitting back there with their thumbs up there, you know what? It's an embarrassment.
It is.
It's a downright embarrassment. And again, it goes back to the Biden administration, the people he appointed in those roles to oversee these organizations.
Yes.
So, and I'll be totally honest, when it came to the win, I didn't even watch
You already knew.
election night. I knew what was going to
You
happen.
already knew. Yeah.
Because when people get fed up, people become real.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They won't admit it. Like, you got so many Democrats that voted for Trump, they'll never admit it. They won't say it.
Mm-hmm.
But at the end of the day, people are like, listen, I'm tired of going to the grocery store, paying $200, and I'm walking out with half a freaking bag of groceries.
Right.
Knowing I got to go back in about 4 days to get more stuff.
Yes.
So people get fed up and people start thinking and people start getting real. They think about where they were from 2016 to 2020 versus where they went from 2020 to 2024. And they say, you know what? Back in 2016 to 2020, yeah, I thought this guy was an a-hole. I didn't like him, but goddamn, I could fill up my car without going broke. Yes. I can go to the grocery store and buy groceries. I didn't hear nothing out of North Korea, China, and Russia. No war over in the Gaza Strip. I'm like, and they think, and I've had this conversation with people. People like, and the biggest thing was people was like, yo, I never owed money to the government when it came tax time. But for the past 4 years, that's all I've been doing is owing money.
Paying money. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So, it is, people started getting real with themselves.
Yeah.
And started saying, you know what? I don't like his orange pricked up hair, but you know what? He got me.
Yeah. I was going to ask you my last question. I'm so sorry to just throw this one at you.
No.
Do you feel the Black vote was heard? Do you feel that the Black heard? I think that's where, when we saw that Trump won, did you feel that your Black vote mattered? Did you feel that it was heard when you went into those election polls and voted?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like I said, I think a lot of people, like I said, they won't admit it. And the issue I have with a lot of people, I hate to say a lot of Black people when it comes to elections, is identity politics. I hate it. I don't like it. You know what I mean? Don't get me wrong. Listen, if Kamala Harris or anybody for that matter, any black female, black male, white female, whatever, any minority group,
Yeah.
if you are the person that's destined to do this job and the person feels that within their soul, then you vote for that person.
Mm-hmm.
If you really feel that Kamala Harris is the person that was going to make America better for you, then you vote for her. But when I talk to people, it's like, who you vote? Come on, I'm voting for the sister. Why? Why wouldn't I? She's black like me. No.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
sorry. I'm
They were
I'm
looking
I'm
for
I'm
common
I'm not a
ground with no
billionaire.
political views, right? Yeah, I
I
agree.
don't
Not
have the luxury of
1,000%.
voting for
Yes.
somebody just because they look like me.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what I mean? I don't. I'm sorry. I never have and I never will.
Right.
And I think that's one of the, and again, it goes back to when we were saying sometimes we are too forgiving with others that are like us.
Right.
You know
Yes.
what I
Very
mean?
true.
We have to, I think we have to stop doing that. I really think
Agree.
we have as black people, we have to stop looking at people because they look like us and thinking they're the best thing for us. I don't think it works.
Yes, I agree. I'm gonna hit you rapid fire just like I did with Joe. We're gonna talk about Trump assassination attempts, Joe Biden dropping out of the race, Kamala Harris being added to the race, and then Trump win for the election. So, what are your thoughts on all of that? Give it to me.
Okay, so Trump assassination. I really just, I really just thought that was a whole joke. I really thought it was just like he planned it, and I'm just like, if he planned it, that's a bad planning on your part because other people could have got hurt.
Mhm.
After that one, that was another one and done. They talked about that for what, a whole day or whatever. The next thing he come out,
They gave it
maybe
three.
3 days.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think an officer did lose his life. I think if he's not injured, he
Oh,
did lose his
yeah.
life. So that was the one fatality that we did hear of, but it's unfortunate. If it was planned, it was an ill-planned event. Yeah, I thought nothing much of it, but please go ahead, proceed, Kira.
Right. Exactly. So then, Joe dropping out, I thought that was good for him because he's up there in age. He's aging. We saw how he almost tipping over or he just stuck, and
Mhm.
it was only right for him to pass it over to Kamala because she was next up in line.
Mhm.
She didn't have enough time. I believe she didn't have enough time to prepare, but I don't know. I don't know what that. I was watching it and I was just like so uninterested at some points because then it started to become a concert. Like, oh, let's see who's gonna be on here tonight. And we got Megan Thee Stallion and we got Incredible Hulk Hogan. And it started to become a crap show. But then I'm listening to the things that Trump said, and I'm just like, I don't know. Y'all really don't like this orange head man? I don't know. He's saying some stuff, but then everybody, oh, she black, she black. She ain't black, but oh, her dad is black or something?
Yeah,
Jamaican? Dad is
yeah,
black, Jamaican, whatever. Now
yeah.
all of a sudden you want to be, I eat my collard greens with hot sauce because that's how I love it ever since I was a child. No, that's definitely not going to get my vote. That's not going to
Yeah.
get my vote because you because you portrayed that's how black people act.
Right, right.
Whatever. I don't want to see that. I don't want to see you coming in here trying to act black
Hmm.
because that's not how we act.
Yeah. You
You
know what
sound
took
like
me
some
out
old
when she
slave.
said she washed her greens in the tub. I just was like, you lost me.
Like, we don't wash our greens in the tub. I
We
don't
do
know
not
what
do
part of the
that.
black community you got that from. We do not
Some
wash
people in
our
the
greens in the
South do it
tub,
that
baby.
way, but I'm like, that's a huge batch of greens, and I'm not a part of that. So yeah, good luck to you on
Yeah,
that journey. But that definitely isn't how my people get down. So I don't know about that. But go ahead. You and
right.
yours,
So
good luck.
don't invite me to your house because I'm not eating Kamala Harris's. And now she's gonna come out with a line of collard greens or whatever that ain't gonna sell because we know that we know you wash your collard greens in a tub where you shower at.
Absolutely disgusting. Disgusting. So what are your
But
thoughts on Trump win?
I'm just hoping for my future, for the future of my babies,
Mhm.
how this gonna play out
Yeah.
and make America great again. It's some things I agree with him on. I
Mhm.
mean, one of the things is, and I don't want to sound racist about this, about with the immigrations or whatever, because hey, I love all people. I don't color, race, or whatever. But I mean, like when I'm looking around in my area and they're coming over here and they so privileged, and that's cool, that's fine, or whatever. But when you look down on me as an American,
Mhm.
that's the part that behooves me.
Yeah.
So, I mean, and it's becoming a norm also. Like even like when I'm walking around, it's like it's starting to look like a third world country in America
Right. Hmm.
in certain areas, and I'm just like, this is not what I want to look at every day, or whatever. This is not what I want to see every day. It was for you guys to come over and make a life better, but not to turn it into looking like we living in slums and things like that. Although we already have our own slums or whatever. That's why I said I don't want to sound racist because I'm not
Yeah.
or whatever. But they illegally here and they getting more funds and getting better opportunities than us Americans who've been here for a long time. Like we've been struggling for a long time, and they just come over here and they getting benefits, all types of benefits that we've been fighting for a long time.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I even
Yes.
hear people
Yeah.
saying, "Oh, I can't receive food stamps or whatever." But when you go into the food stamp office, it's piles and it's boxes stacked up saying immigration
Yeah.
and saying immigrants. So they're taking care of them first before you taking care of your own people over here in America.
Yeah.
So I kind of agree with him on that about sending home, but then I'm just like, oh man, my soft side just like, oh, give him a chance or whatever. But then I'm tired of getting cussed out. I've gotten cussed out a couple of times by
Told me
immigrants.
about that. I think on one of the podcasts, she was like, "Oh, girl, stop! I want you the nerve and audacity. Like, I'm here. I'm supposed to be here. You here, you visited, and you got the nerve to curse me out.
And
Yeah, it's
you
crazy.
cussing me out,
Wild,
and
wild
you
west out
telling
there.
me like you basically telling me like take my black ass back home or whatever, and I'm just like, yikes, like ooh. So I'm just like,
Craziness. So I wanna,
I
I
just
wanna go ahead. I'm so sorry, Kira. But you just what?
I'm just praying for our future. That's it. And especially my 8 years old and my 16-year-old. I'm hoping for their future.
Yeah, definitely. I'm in agreement there. I'm definitely praying for our future. My thoughts on Trump assassination attempt is unfortunate. I know that it got
Yeah.
him a lot of clout. I know a lot of sympathy went into him after the whole incident. And I just wish you like you get the reward on your own merit. Like that's what I always think, right? So you didn't need to put on a show. We didn't need to see anything. If it did happen, it's unfortunate. Rest in peace to the person that was injured and lost their life. That's unfortunate. Their family, hopefully they'll be able to recover. You really don't recover after you lose somebody, but I do want to say it's just an unfortunate event that happened. I don't think that Trump is even worth the worthy mention of an assassination. Because I'm like, who is he? He's just somebody with money. That's how I look at him, as if I look at all the other people with money. They have this self-entitlement and this privilege behind them. But is that reason to kill him? No. If that's the case, there's a lot of people that need to go. Yeah, what's the cause of it? Just because you didn't want him to be in office, look at it. He's here now. So look at that. It didn't prove or do anything or change anything. So what a waste of time and energy. Not that if he died, that would have been worth the time and energy either. Just, it wasn't really worth the whole
Right.
situation. Joe Biden dropping out from the race is a whole different subject to me because I was a little nervous seeing his instability and his health issues and concerns. Clearly, I immediately looked at Joe Biden and thought dementia. I immediately looked at him and thought, something's going on there mentally, that needs to be addressed. And I don't know why everybody else is turning a blind eye to it.
Right.
That concerned me a little bit, as well as his age, and no credit to Trump because he's up there in age as well.
Right.
The difference is the two, from the two, one has a little bit more structure mentally to that can form sentences, maybe not the best sentences, and the other one just can't, so maybe he's losing it mentally more, one is losing it mentally more than the other one, but death doesn't have a name on it, it could ravage a different way in form in life. So I just was nervous that Biden was going to die in office, and that was my concern. I was really nervous
Right.
that Joe Biden was going to die in office. And I didn't want that for him. I didn't want that to be his end and his legacy. I did
Mhm.
like Joe Biden when he was a whole part of, Obama, office and everything. I don't know if he should have ever been president, because I think when you're at your greatest, you leave it your mark there in your greatest.
Right.
So I liked him and his bro love with Obama.
Wow.
I know that their whole time in office wasn't all wins. There was some
Uh-huh.
pros and there was some cons there too, unfortunately, but I'm happy that somebody made the decision to have him drop from office, because that was definitely, or drop from the race, because that was one of
Right.
my concerns when he was there. I just was like, I'm watching this debate and the debate is not debating. Nothing's
Right.
making sense, not from either party, but it is what it is. And then Kamala being added, I think it was just a real disadvantage, because I was so torn between the whole election between Trump and Trump and Harris. Let me just say the two last names, Trump and Harris. I
Mhm.
was so torn because you want to root for the underdog, which is Kamala. You want to root for her, but you're like, give me the reason to root for you. Give me
Right.
the basis of what are you going to change? Are you going to change the economy? Are you going to make things different? And I'm not going to say make America great again, because America is always going to be great. We have the land of the
Right.
free. We're a whole big difference from the other countries. We have our own right and our own things that we've earned over the course of years. But I do want to say with Kamala, I was waiting for her to say some profound thing that she was going to have, and bring to the table. But I just never found it. And I was always in odds with it. So the day of the election, I went and I put, got dressed, and I was, eager and excited. And you go to the ballot box and you click a box and you're like, I didn't feel that either candidate was a great choice. I didn't feel that
Right.
either candidate was just, the win, it wasn't like something that was so, overpowering about one or the other. And it was
Right.
unfortunate. I was always looking for it. But when Trump won, I'm very similar to Joe. I didn't go home and turn on the TV and watch the polls and state by state what other president elections I did, and I was eagerly waiting previous years, but not this year and not the year last year either. Like,
Right.
I went home, I'm like, it is what it is. Whoever wins
Right.
will win. And hopefully the better person that's going to change some things, will be elected. Let's see what we deal with come January. You know what I mean? That's
Right.
immediately all I
Right.
said. I wasn't, like, oh my God, you have to pick this person because they're black. You have
Right.
to do this because
Right.
he's so pro against us. Like, it wasn't that for me. For me, it was just like
Right.
I was really voting based on hope.
Exactly.
Hope the world, no matter who wins, is better than what it is today.
Right.
And that's how I looked at the election. I really didn't go in with there was a stronger candidate. And I think that was just disheartening for me when I walked in to vote. I can only hope that it can make some changes. And I do pray for our future, my future grandson and my future, my children, and everything else that's going on. I pray for our world, because we do need to have a better world. We have to have a better economy. And if we got to continue to live, hopefully housing is better opportunities. I wanted to touch on immigration, but I think you touched on a lot. Work opportunities, housing opportunities, food opportunities, all of that stuff is being handed to them with no, like,
Mhm.
cause of fight, no kind of like, they don't have to meet all these requirements that we do as United States citizens. It's just,
Right.
I know they're giving a disadvantage, but it's also still like, taking away from food and things that and shelter in our lives. We see so many homeless people
Right.
out there. Why not put a plan in place to help the homeless and other people that are in need?
Right.
And immigration is immigration. We do get it, they have misfortunes in the countries that they've come from, but then to come here and be handed, something, so easily. It still shouldn't be the case either. But everybody, has their struggles, including myself. I'm not in the
Right.
bracket of either or, but I just still feel that it's a disadvantage. And my tax dollars are being spent without my real reason or, pick of what I can spend my tax dollars on. And I'm hoping that the little bit of the government that's in control can change those things. I also did want to touch on Project 2025. I don't want to live like I'm in the 1800s, so hopefully those things don't go into effect. I don't want to have to start fighting for my civil rights all over again. So I do want to say that. I hope those are all things that are just fictitious and, made up and not real facts. But we will soon see. I do want to say that. And I also want to thank you guys for joining us at the Grown Up Group because it's been a while. And I thank you for joining and circling back to us. So thank you guys for joining us for the Grown Up Group.